Hello, I see that I am live. I just want to confirm that can be heard. So I want to join the event from here myself to see that I have um, I have my audio on. Okay, I'm clicking on join now. The event will start soon, and I'm already live here showing for me. So let me see from this angle. I have. Okay, cool. That means I am okay. So good evening from Nigeria here to everyone listening to this show this evening. It's more like a test in my side. So I just want to show some very important stuff that I want people to be aware of. So I will be doing a talk around roles and jobs in M365 space today. So I'm going to be sharing my screen in a bit just so we can look into areas that are very important to be discussed. Okay, so share screen, entire screen, this screen, and then share. So I'm going to bring my screen on the stage. That's cool. So I'm going now to bring up my demo environment, and that will be this. Okay, so I want to take us through some very important parts of the Microsoft 365. So in one of my demos, I have explained the importance of having cmd.ms to be very, very important. So if I type to cmd.ms, I'm just going to show you the rules in M365 that you need to be aware of, right? So if you come to cmd.ms, this is where you see all the admin centers in Microsoft Cloud space. So from here, you can decide to bring up a lot of things, but for now, I'm just going to be, you know, going into the Entra Admin Center. The reason I'm coming into the Entra Admin Center is because I want to show us the rules that you can actually see, and um, every one of them actually depicts a job responsibility, right? So if you come to the Entra Admin Center and you go to rules, it's just trying to load, and I'm going to give it some level of patience just so it comes up. Come on, be nice to me this evening. Come on, come on, come on. Yep, I'm here now. So if you come to the the Entra Admin Center, it's also available in the M365 Admin Center, which I'm going to show you. So if you come to show all, let's just open this place up for a while, and then we see roles and roles and admins. So if you come to roles and admins here and you click on this actually is going to show you like a very long list of the roles that you would have, as job responsibility, and you can decide to become an expert in any of these areas yourself, right? So if you look at from the very beginning, um, of course, I'm seeing AI administrator now. So the question is that what is AI administrator supposed to be doing? So it is actually a role that has to do with managing all aspects of M365 Copilot and AI related enterprise services in M365. To be honest, I have not seen this before, and this actually has opened my eye to this role. So what does this mean? This is a role that is speaking to like the common or the most prevalent topic of discussion of the day, which is AI. You go here, AI, you come there, AI. In all platforms that you actually visit, all admin center now, you start seeing people building their custom co-pilot to give answers. You start hearing about ChatGPTs and all of those, right? So here, what we can see is one of the rule, and the first rule that is here is for you to manage all aspects of the M365 Copilot and AI related enterprise services in Microsoft 365. So this is a role that you can actually, decide to check out and see what and what this role encompasses and how can you be relevant in M365 if you have knowledge or if you have interest in studying AI, then it will really, really be nice if you want to check this out. Like one of my mentors will always say, if you have something that is new, it is an opportunity for you to dive deep into it. And when you dive deep into it, the way it is new, so as it is progressing, you will also progress with what is trending, right? Instead of holding on to when it has gone past the infant stage and it has gone up. And again, even in terms of certifications, right? If a particular skill is new, the certifications are actually easier because one of the ways that you get into these roles is to see what level of certifications do you really have, right? And then looking at AI as it is actually not in its infancy stage, but we're just seeing that the AI stuff and discussion is becoming like the order of the day, and everyone can confirm that it is more prevalent now than it has ever been, right? I was in hackathon over the weekend, and the lady who gave the keynote was saying that she has studied a lot of things about AI while in the university, and it is obvious that AI did not start today. But of course, in the recent times, you would see that discussions everywhere is around AI. So this is an opportunity for you that is trying to venture into M365 space to try to come and see how and what is required of you to become a Microsoft. What is required for you to be able to manage all aspects of M365 Copilot and AI related enterprise services in M365. And this is like a very nice and beautiful role that you can decide to go into, you that is actually trying to see how you could switch into tech, or you is already in tech and maybe is trying to come into cloud, or you who is already in the cloud and trying to come into the Microsoft space, or you who is in the Microsoft space and then want to come into M365 related activities. So administrative roles are used to grant access for privileged actions in M360, in Microsoft Entra ID. So we we can look at another point here, which is about the application administrator. So, what is or who is an or what can an application administrator do? Or how is it a role? As a matter of fact, it's a privileged role, and this can give you access to create and manage all aspects of app registration and enterprise application. Okay, so app registration, talking about single sign on. So if you're an application developer and you truly want to come into the M365 space, maybe you want to look at this also. Then you see application developer role is just lying, just beside it, and this gives you opportunity to create application, register, independent. Excuse me, I'll take it again. This can create application registration independent of the user, can register application settings. So that is one thing that you have to be aware of. So you also have attack payload author. So attack payload author, attack payload, attack simulation administrator. All these are actually speaking to a segment of the security administrator, because actually the security administrator can create payloads in your M365 space, right? In your security admin center. And then for attack simulator administrator, maybe I would have to look for how to drag this open. Yeah, there should be a way to drag this open a bit so that we can have the whole of it to read. Yeah, and then I think I can also drag this out so that we can have more of it expanded for easy reading, because I have a small screen at the moment. So, attack payload author, of course, if you are talking about attack payload, then we are talking about a segment of the security administrator, like I earlier mentioned. So, this admin is actually the one to create payloads that are going to be used for attack simulations. So, just in case you don't know about attack simulation is you trying to be at the forefront before the hacker can even take the decision. find its way into your organization. So what this means is that you're creating an environment where you send out simulated phishing emails to your users so that you can use that to, to measure the security posture of your organization. So attack simulation administrator is actually to do this. Why the attack payload author is actually to create those payloads. So what are payloads? Payloads are something that looks like what the hacker would have used to hack your organization. Let's say, for example, yeah, this is the month of November and it is Black Friday month. So let's say you want to create like a Black Friday surprise email to send to your users and then put like a phishing link that actually looks like a phishing link, but not really a phishing link, so that people in your organization, you can know the level at which they are going to click that link. So if you are looking into security, into email security, and then all attacks that can come from emails, then of course, if you are looking at how to become a security administrator in M365, then understanding how payloads work and how simulation attack work would be like a very nice knowledge that you want to check. So what I'm trying to even say in all of this is that attack simulation and attack payload author and attack simulation administrator is actually very, very nice role that align under security administrator. Then you see attribute assignment admin. So this may not really be like standalone administrative rule or job rules in areas, because all of this could just be combined into a particular how will I put it, a particular rule that you can look at. But the major rules that are here are the ones that you see privileged rules. So these are actually what give you access to administrative center. So our concentration during the course of this conversation may just be around the privilege rule only. Also, let me just check to be sure that I still all right then. So I'm just trying to look at my own test here where I am joined into this call just to make sure that everything is going on well. So what about authentication extensibility administrator and authenticator administrator? So what are they going to do? So they can access to view they can set and reset authentication method information for any non-admin user. So this is very important. This is actually speaking to authentication. So authentication is just speaking about who are you, right? Tell you said you are this. Okay, if you say you are, your email address or your UPN is correct, then give us your password. And if your password passes, then depends on how the organization is set up. If you have MFA, then of course it can, prompt for MFA. So this particular authentication administrator can just the work can just be, to be resetting authentication method information for any non-admin user. What it means is that if you have another administrator, the authentication administrator will not be able to, reset the authentication method of another administrator, right? So authentication extensibility administrator customize sign in and sign up experience for users by creating and managing custom authentication. So if you scroll down, also you have the B2B IAF key administrator. So if you keep scrolling, then you see cloud application administrator who can create and manage all aspects of app registration and enterprise app except app proxy. Then you have the cloud device administrator, right? So all this is limited access to manage devices in Microsoft Entra ID, but of course, when you have big organization, there can be decision to bring somebody who will just sit on this. What about the conditional access administrator? So what is even conditional access? So conditional access is putting consideration in place based on what actually fits the organization to say. For example, if your company or your organization is only resident in Nigeria, and you want to say that users who are you don't have any business that will make a user to be able to sign in from Ghana. So what you're going to do is to create what is called named location and then say, yes, in this XYZ location, you cannot sign into this application or my environment as a whole. So you can also say, unless your machine is joined to domain, then you should not be able to access this particular application. Or you can say, okay, that users should not be able to, sign into their environment on their mobile phones. And you can actually set a lot of conditions. So that is conditional access. So you can say users should not be able to access app on the web, or they should not be able to access on the client application, as the case may be. So somebody can actually be in charge of those for an organization, and that's also like a rule that somebody can decide to go for. So what about the domain name administrator? So of course, this person or this employee or this user can manage domain name in the cloud and the on-premises as well. So this is actually a role. Of course, if you look at them, you have the edge administrator, exchange administrator. This is a very important, admin role, and one of the vast admin roles that should be looked into deeply. So what this guy can do is he can manage all that has to do with your exchange products. Come to talk about your calendar, come to talk about your mailboxes in terms of shared mailboxes, user mailboxes, creating mailflow rule, you know, restricting domains, or trying to even set maximum message size for people or for users in your organization, doing a lot of things that has to do with email. Of course, you know that the I would say the backbone of most organization is in email communication. So that means this guy is going to be involved in setting up your emails, your mail routing, the security of your emails, and all that has to do with emails that are flowing in and those that are flowing out. So this is actually a major role that organizations look for. So if you are targeting to come to M365, Exchange Online is actually one of the most how would I put it, most sorted for, role in M365, because organizations, go out for these people, because also the exchange administrator has a lot of access to the security admin center to manage a lot that has to do with email and collaboration, and security part of those emails too is actually a very robust kind of admin center. That is why this role is very, very key. So if I were you and I'm coming to learn M365 for the first time, or switching my career to M365, or if I'm a non-techie person, I may want to consider Exchange Online, because it is highly, very, very lucrative. And if you actually know what you're doing, and you even understand a level of exchange from the on-premises environment, and then you understand the cloud and how hybrid kind of email connectivity work, then it's going to be a very, very important kind of topic. I mean, area that you want to dive into. So Exchange Online Administrator is superb. I started off M365 as a Teams administrator. I did a lot when it comes to Teams administrator, setting up phone numbers for users, creating call queues, creating auto attendance. It was very, very sweet. So, like, an organization can say, okay, I want it to be that when users come into my organization, they should hear like a very nice tone that speaks to the services that we offer. And after that, then it should say press one for support, press two for, so that is auto attendant. It is actually a very interesting part. And then when it comes to voice as well, I mean, I have tried to set up direct routing, operator connect, try to do Microsoft calling plan. And then we did a lot of those, right? But even at that, I still loved Exchange. And I had to sit down one particular time and try to study Exchange to make sure that I also, get myself grounded in it, as much as I also know M365, I mean Microsoft Teams, because I was actually one of those persons in 2021 August that supported the EMEA customers who were migrating from from Exchange Online, no, not from Exchange Online, from Skype, what's it called? Skype on premises to Microsoft Teams. So that time there were a lot of coexistence between the Microsoft Teams and the name it now, Skype for Business on-prem. So at that point, there were meeting first. There were a lot of there were a lot of what's it called, coexistence mode that occurred at that time before there was like a complete decommissioning. I mean, end of support for the Skype for Business on-prem. I was among the team that actually help people in transitioning. So it was really very interesting to see that yes, my hands were really, really grounded in Microsoft Teams, talking about troubleshooting calls and all of that. So that enough of that. I think we'll still get to Teams administrator as a robot. I'm just trying to say that even at all of those things we did in Teams, when I came into Exchange Online, I understood that it is one of the most sorted for roles in M365. So when it talks about when you come to Exchange Online rule, so you also talk about booking. Because you can actually take booking away from Exchange, and the good thing is that the calendar you have in Microsoft Teams is actually spooled out. I mean, is being provided by Exchange Online. So if you don't have Exchange Online license, then you will not be able to have calendar in Microsoft Teams. So if you're wondering, let's say for example, you sign into your Teams environment and you are unable to see calendar. The reason, one of the major reasons, is because you don't have Exchange Online license checked for you in Teams. So it means that if you are working as a Teams engineer or support engineer, you should have an idea about how Exchange works, because if you don't understand how Exchange works when it comes to calendar sharing and group calendar in Teams, then you become confused. The same way too, if you are working on Teams, of course, Teams does not have its own storage. Teams actually leverages on the storage that is coming up from SharePoint and the OneDrive. What it means is that if you are working on calendar, I mean on the Teams channel, then whatever that is being saved in Teams channel is saved to the corresponding SharePoint site, of you is saved to the corresponding SharePoint site of the Teams channel, right? Then if you do like a one-on-one chat and then you upload file on a one-on-one conversation, then the files are going to be saved to your what's it called now, to your OneDrive, your personal OneDrive, and then you are sharing to the person depending on the permission level you are giving to this person, that actually determines what the person can or cannot do on the file you're sharing. So that I don't jump from things one thing to the other, what I'm trying to make you understand here is that Exchange Online is a very important rule, but there is handshake between Exchange Online rule and your Teams, admin rule, because of course the calendar from Exchange actually sit with Teams. And if you create like room devices from Exchange Admin Center, equipment mailbox, right? Where you talk about room mailbox and equipment mailbox, that is generally called resource mailbox. Then, of course, when you are scheduling your meeting from Teams, you are still calling on those, attributes, just so people can, have what am I trying to say? So that people can have to set meeting from their teams, bringing this into play. So if you don't have an idea about Teams at all and you are Exchange guy, then it's actually not going to be very nice, reaching out every time there's an issue with Teams. And again, if you're a Teams guy only and you don't even have like a hint about the Exchange Admin Center, then it's going to be a problem, right? So you need to actually know something around all this, but then you may want to focus on one. But I must tell you the fact that Exchange Online Exchange administrator is one of the major administrative role that you may want to consider when you are coming to the M365 space. And then again, you have Exchange recipient administrator. So all of these are like the granular part of those administrative roles that are still within the Exchange administrator. So like I mentioned, I'm just going to be showing around how this, but at the end of the day, I will be showing you you know around the admin centers so that you can see how to navigate, and the level of your navigation will depend on the role that is given to you, right? But if we come down to external ID user administrator, external, all these are rules, but even though they are like small rules, right? But of course they are rules. Then this is external identity provider administrator. So we cannot overemphasize this global administrator. And anytime you see global administrator, then you hear something about least privilege access. So you can't be applying for global admin role. Yes, you can apply for SharePoint admin role. You can apply for Exchange administrator. You can apply for Teams administrator, SharePoint administrator, application developer administrator, and all of those, right? But I have not seen, where someone would want to apply for global administrator role. That is not because people are not giving global administrator. That's not what I'm saying. But the global admin can manage all aspects of your Microsoft Entra ID and Microsoft services that use Microsoft Entra identity. So what it means is that this role is the highest role that you can have in your administrative center. So what it means is that before you give this role to a user to say, hey user, this is the role I'm giving to you, know the implication. And it's always been encouraged that you should stick to the principle of least privilege. So the global admin has access to all admin centers. So I must emphasize this because you need to be aware of it. So there is actually a way from the M365 admin center you can compare the rules. So before we round off today, yes, I'm going to show you how to see these administrative rules, where to navigate to while you are navigating, what to see, what you can do, what you cannot do. But you may not be able to go through them one after the other to read, but there's a way you can compare three rules parallelly from the M365 Admin Center, which I am still going to show you. So we have, when we scroll down, we have the help desk administrator. So this is actually like a very, very common role where people get, like what's it called, help desk or desktop support. So that's what they call they call people who do this. So most of the things they do is around password reset for users, and it is one of the most common roles that people can use to come into IT. So people who are not actually IT savvy, I mean, who is that the right word? People who are not really in IT yet, who want to transition into IT, then help desk administrator is just a sure way for you to easily come in. So what do these people do, or what do they do, is to reset password for non-administrators and help desk administrators. So what it means is that they can reset password for their fellow help desk administrator, but they cannot reset the password of admins. So this is one of those commonest role that people should know. So what this means is that if you're able to understand how M365 works, and then how passwords work, in one of the sessions I had in Dynamics live session, I was able to show how to understand passwords, how to avoid weak passwords in organization. And in one of these events like this, I may just also show that point so that people can get to see how all this works. But help desk administrator role is actually a very, very important role. So know how to sign into M365, know how to reset the user's password. Just knowing how to do that alone, at least, is something, right? So if you want to start learning M365, you may want to learn how to create user, how to reset the password of this user, and how to have this user sign into the admin center. And of course, you can try to start developing documents about it as somebody who is looking for a job in M365. Keep that by the side. So once you are perfect in doing this, you can also now try to, okay, let's see how you can proceed further. Good thing is that Microsoft is it's so generous enough to give trial licenses to people to try with 25 user count for a whole 30 days, for free. Use your card, then just get the tenants, and you're not going to get charged. You can use that, create demo users. Let's say, for example, you want to truly, after reading the documentation from Microsoft Learn, then you want to take the next step by creating, doing the demo. You can decide to, after reading your, your literature, you can subscribe for a month and break these admin centers into weeks, right? Let's say for 4 weeks as somebody trying to learn. And then you can say, okay, throughout the first week, then all you're going to be exploring for the 7 days is just going to be the M365 admin center. And then you break it down to Teams, to Exchange, and to all of that. But of a truth, the help desk admin center, the help desk administrator role is one of the very common roles that you may want to, get yourself engaged in. And of course, it's going to be nice. If you have questions about how to what to study to, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I may not be very active, but you can also drop a comment on my YouTube, and I'll be very, very happy to come to give responses to your question. So also there is hybrid identity administrator. So hybrid identity, what's the meaning? So a user who has presence in both on-premises and the cloud. So but that may be a bit advanced, but if you were a Windows Server person, right, you may, and then you want to come into cloud. Of course, this is one of those rules that you may want to look at, synchronize users, and then try to see how you can, of course, where to change to. That is for you to know the source of authority of a user, right? To know that this user's residence, credentials are residents on premises, and this user or this particular, for example, I know that if I want to create a shared mailbox, yeah, a shared mailbox in an on-premises, in a hybrid infrastructure arrangement, I know that I will have to create the mailbox as a user mailbox in the M365, no, in the Windows Server environment, which is the on-premises environment, have this account sync to the cloud, right? And then when it syncs to the cloud, I would have to now convert this account from the cloud to, just the way I do it, to a shared mailbox, and then remove license from it, go to the on-premises environment and disable the account. And of course, I will now be able to add delegates where I can only add delegates from the cloud. So I can add delegates to the shared mailboxes from the cloud, and that works. So in this case, what it means is that I was able to know where to create the user is on-prem, yes, and then come to the cloud to convert the mailbox to a shared mailbox, and then remove the license from the user from the cloud, and then go to on-premises, disable the accounts, and then add users to the shared mailbox. This is a very simple add delegate to the shared mailbox. This is a simple way of just saying, okay, this is a user that is sitting on premises and also has presence in the cloud. So you have to have the knowledge of the on-premises and then the knowledge of the cloud. So if you were normally like an on-premises person, then of course it's good for you to be looking at how to become the hybrid identity administrator. And I think that courses like AZ9, no, I'm not saying AZ9, AZ800 and AZ801, yeah, are going to definitely be useful to you. So if you are that person, right, that wants to check, of course, you can check them out. And then again, if we quickly jump all these and then come to this one that is just inviting me, is the Intune administrator. Of course, you can manage all aspects of the Intune products. What is Intune? Intune is the when you talk about Intune, so what comes to your mind, or what comes to the mind of people who know, the M365, at least have an idea, is mobile device management, right? Or device enrollment and device management. So the devices that you are using, just the same way you are using GP group policy objects in your on-premises. Of course, you can manage a lot of things using Intune. You can do remote wipes. You can do a lot with Intune. So Intune administrator role is a big role, just as I mentioned when I was talking about Exchange administrator too. So you may want to, check this out also and see how you can actually be um, how you can actually be of of value when you learn all this. So yeah, password admin can reset password for non-administrator and password administrator. So you may want to ask now, what is the difference between the password administrator and the help desk admin that we looked at? But these are roles. Then you have the privilege authenticator administrator. There's one thing I discovered about this. So usually the global administrator can only, the password of a global administrator can only be changed or reset by another global administrator. But there were some things that I saw about the privileged authenticator administrator. I mean, which is going to be a talk for another day. Okay, so coming here, you have the security admin. So if you're a security inclined person again, of course, you may want to look at this area. Excuse me, I just had a beep on my screen that I have a low battery. I have not plugged my PC. Just give me a second. Let me quickly do that. All right, so I should be good now. Okay, so what I was trying to say was about the security administrator. So if you are the security kind of person already, and then you want to come into the M365, of course, you can see that we have security administrator, we have security operator, and we have the security reader. So what is the difference between the security reader and the security administrator or the security operator, right? So these are things that you may want to check out yourself. Okay, so these are things that you may want to check out yourself. The security reader actually is, of course, as the name implies, to read, to to see how or what the configuration looks like, is what the security reader is going to see, just to see, cannot make changes, but can see the the configurations you currently have. That is, of course, the security operator can create and manage security events, while the security administrator can read security event and report and then manage configuration in all Microsoft Entra ID and Office 365. So these are roles and these are jobs, these are opportunities that are in M365. You can see me scrolling down, Teams device administrator. I forgot to also mention, of course, because I had earlier even said a lot of things about the Teams administrator. Teams administrator can be there as and it's just about voice. So the Teams administrator can decide to be talking about just to be specialized in voice in terms of direct routing, voice in terms of operator connect, voice in terms of Microsoft calling plan, and then this user is in charge of assigning purchasing phone number, converting phone number from user number to service number, and all of that. In short, there are two major certifications when it comes to the Teams administrator. Like the one I have is the Teams administrator associate. So you can go to Teams administrator associate. There is Teams voice solution engineer, and then there is Teams support engineer or something. So, but I know that at the moment they are very solid, you know, certifications that you can write as a Teams administrator. So what about the Teams communication administrator? I was just mentioning that somebody that is the Teams administrator can decide to focus on just communication, so can manage calling, meeting features with the Microsoft Teams. That's all what this guy is doing, right? Why some other ones can do some granular Teams administrative role. So for the Teams administrator, he can decide that he doesn't want people to be able to chat with people from specific domain, can decide to block those, can decide to say anonymous people cannot join your meetings, or you can even decide to say, okay, that people outside cannot start your meeting even though they are allowed to join. What about the screen sharing that is in the meeting policies? So you have the calling policy, you have the live event policy, you have a lot of policies when it comes to Teams, right? You have the voice policy, which is the calling policy. You have a lot that the Teams administrator can actually go to granularly check for you. So, for example, in the messaging policy, the Teams administrator can say, no, I don't want people to be able to do like a one-on-one chat, right? I think because of one reason or the other. So you can also granularly go to say you want to manage what happens in Teams channels and all of that. So there are a lot that the Teams administrator can do as well. So what about the Teams device administrator? The Teams device administrator can perform and manage related tasks on Teams certified devices, the meeting room devices, all of those Teams related devices that are used in your environment. This administrator can do that. So there is user administrator also. So this person can create and manage all aspects of groups, and including resetting password for for limited administrators. So these are rules, right, that you may want to check out yourself if you are looking to getting a career in the M365 space. So one thing that is very key is that you trying to come into M365, you should have something specific in your mind to come and do. But first of all, there are basic things that you must know. You must know how to sign into the admin center, and then your key area of interest should be where you start from. And if you are new to everything, then starting from the help desk administrator can be like a very soft start for you. So now, what do you really need to know, like for the general, knowledge while you are trying to start your career? Like I mentioned here, that cmd.ms is like one of the major, URL that you should know if you are coming to the M365, if you are coming to the Microsoft space entirely. And then for Microsoft 365, you can filter that this is what you want to look at. And then now, if I click on here, then what it means is that I'm going to be in the M365 administrator. So what I'm going to do now is to show you like where to access the administrative centers, where to manage the administrative centers, and where to confirm the administrative roles, and I put them side by side to see what this person can do and what the other person cannot do, just to tell you that when you eventually start working as M365 administrator or something, you know what to do. So I'll be looking at the comment section soon, just in case I have questions that I need to answer, of course, but I'm just trying to show this here. So if you come to this place, so this is like your landing page for everyone that has access to the M365 admin center. So what do you want to look at here is the role, because we are talking about careers in M365 and how you could get yourself like something, right? So coming to this place, you can see those same administrative roles that we had looked at from the Entra Admin Center, right? So Entra Admin Center, then we are here now just to compare the role, because comparing roles. So this is one of the questions in MS 102 where it will speak to what role where can you compare the roles in M365. So I want us to look at something, and that is help desk administrator and password administrator. I just want to look at the difference. So what you do is you check on this help desk, and then let's just scroll down to P for password administrator. So P is just up here. So I haven't clicked on the two. I can click on compare. So if I click on compare roles, then it's going to show me that the help desk administrator has access to do like more than what the password admin can do. So what can password admin do? Right? It can read basic properties of all resources in M365 admin, admin center. If I draw this admin center, and then can reset password for all users. All users, because you should be aware that admins are not included. Of course, the help desk admin can reset password for fellow help desk administrator, and the password administrator can reset password for fellow password administrators. But anything other than that, then nothing else that can they do, right? So create for all other rules, all other things that are here. Read BitLocker, create and manage support ticket. The password admin cannot do more than just these two things. So that's why I was mentioning that these two rules would be like the best. These two role help desk administrator can be like the best you want to start looking out for, right? So let's quickly come back to rules. So if I come back to rules, and so just to mention, you can't compare more than three, right? If I click on the third one, I see compare, right? But if I click on the fourth one now, compare is going to get grayed out. I'm sure that's something that is very useful to us. So if I come down to just to compare maybe things, and then just say I want to compare global reader and then global administrator. So for global reader, yeah, it's going to view all administrative features and setting in all admin center. But this person, like I was mentioning, that the global administrator can do and undo, so has unlimited access to all management features, right? So if you do compare, then you are going to see that this person can read, but cannot make changes. Like if you look at where changes are supposed to take place, then the global reader cannot do. So you can just compare these two things. So again, I'll just come back to this, and then I want us to go compare the security admin administrator features. PQRS. So we have security reader, we have the security operator, and then we have the security administrator. So you can compare these three rules also, just to see what they can and what they cannot do. But this that you see here are tasks or tasks that can be what is described to what you'll be able to do or what you will be doing on a regular as a security administrator or as a security operator, right? Read basic properties of all resources in M365 Admin Center, create and manage service requests in M365 Admin Center, read and configure services and all of that. So these are like the rules. So just before I round off, I want to show us something, and that's about running the administrator, the admin center as the other admin. So what I mean is that, for example, how would billing administrator see? So that's where you see this one here. So if you're a global admin and then you want to assign role to somebody, or you are trying to, do like a test to see, you can quickly do like run as, and it's going to open for you. So this is what the billing administrator is going to see. Is not going to see any other admin centers. But if you come to check this guy here, then you see, because he's a global administrator, he can see security, compliance, Microsoft Intune, identity, Exchange, Teams, and all of that, right? Then, if you want to run again as maybe let's say security administrator, let's just quickly go there before we call it a day. Just come into security administrator here now, and then I will click on run as. So what this means is that I'm running this place as a security administrator. So if I click on this, then I will see security, compliance, and identity, because the security administrator needs to have access to this. So let's just see what the exchange administrator can see. The exchange administrator, what admin centers is it supposed to see? So let's run as exchange administrator. So if you click on show all, you will see that the exchange admin will have exchange admin center access. Then if you go to teams also, it means that the teams administrator is going to have the teams admin access. So S after S is T, RST. Yeah, so teams administrator is going to be here. Where is it hiding? So this is Teams telephony administrator. I seem I seem not to see like the main Teams administrator, but let's just click on this and we'll just see cannot have access to the admin center. So that's for Teams telephony administrator. So I'm trying to see if I will see the Teams admin listed here, but for some reasons maybe I have done some few stuffs and I can't see that. But let me close out this first, and then I'll check that before we call it a day. So this is for running it as Exchange admin. It's going to see the Exchange admin center only, and then this is for running it as security administrator. You will see these admin centers, then and so on. So I just want to refresh this to check that I'm not able to see Teams administrator, and I'm going to check it out myself maybe after this live show. So let me just go to roles role assignments, and then I'm just going to check Teams again just one more time. RST. Okay, I seem not to see that here. That's weird, of course, but I'm going to check it. So thank you very much for your time, and this is how it rolls. So subsequently, I will equally be coming online just so I can show you some few things that I want us to learn together. So thank you again, and I hope you will have a wonderful evening out there. So let me just come to check. Let me just come to check in case I have questions to answer here. Okay. So I will check and then I will try to respond to the questions on YouTube. And yeah, that is all we can handle for today. So stop screen sharing and then thank you and have a great evening. Bye from here.